I had to pull over. I heard something on the radio, so I had to pull over to make sure it was what they said. Because the media lies. They're just a bunch of lying, low-down dogs. That's all they are. And if you're a member of the media, you're absolutely no different. I don't care which one you work for. It's just a different flavor in the same cabinet. So I pulled up the video, I pulled up the original video. Because I wanted to make sure someone wasn't just stirring trouble. Because, people do that. But it wasn't. State Representative Cynthia Johnson from Michigan made a video telling people that voted for Trump to watch out. Watch your step. That she's called to action her team. Okay? You see this face? I'm one of those. And what you just did was domestic terrorism at its very finest. It is the very definition of domestic terrorism. Our first bottom line constitutional right is the right to vote. The right to vote for our representation. Our whole Constitution is built on that. Your First Amendment right does not give you the right to go on any medium and incite people to violence. Matter of fact, the First Amendment specifically spells that out, that it does not cover that. What I'm doing right now is exercising my First Amendment right. I am also demanding that the state district attorney of Michigan, and if they lack the ability to do so, the federal prosecutor. I want charges filed. I want to see this lady stand trial as a domestic terrorist that she is. In the late 1930s, before World War II, when Hitler was just getting his toehold in Germany. The way he got his toehold in Germany was with his brown shirts. They were his thugs. They were his henchmen. They were whatever you want to call them. And if you didn't do what Hitler wanted you to do, they visited you and you just disappeared. If you spoke out, you just disappeared. If you didn't agree with what they were talking about, you just disappeared. In the early 1900s, well, it's still going on today. Racism is real. I'm not gonna say it's not there. But it was really bad in the early 1900s. To the point, they were not allowed to vote. They even had to pay a poll tax to vote. Women were not allowed to vote. People of color, oh yeah, you had the right to vote. You may not live through it, but you had the right to vote. Darling, how is that any different than what you just did? You just went on a national medium and threatened everybody that didn't vote the way you wanted them to. Now, whether you meant just in your area or your state or the United States in general, you didn't quite spell that out. But let me spell this out for you. Yes, House members smacked your little fingers and told you, no, you're not supposed to do that. That's not quite good enough for me. That's not going to stop. And for President Biden-elect and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris, is this the way you unite people? Is this the way to get me on your side? Is your little henchman threatening us? Because she's yours, you know. She's on your team. And she has that little D out beside her name, not an R. Really? If this video does not disturb every American citizen in the United States, you got a problem. If that video does not disturb you, you are part of the problem. If that video does not disturb you, you're a Nazi. Because that's basically what she's preaching. Do what we say, or my little henchmen are going to come visit you. Yes, I took it personally. Because I'm a law-abiding American citizen. It will not be a pretty day when all this comes to a head. It will not be a pretty day. The silent majority, you're only going to push them around so long. But I don't suggest you come to their neighborhood, because you won't be met with the same lackadaisical attitude that people in New York and Cleveland and Columbus and Chicago and LA and all of these big cities where these henchmen go in. And yes, they're your henchmen. Yes, y'all paid them to do this. Yes, you did. Destroying businesses. Flat destroying things people have worked for 60 and 70 years. You threatened the life and livelihood of every one of them. I want something done. And I promise you, I can be a pain in your side. I'm not at my office right now. I'm in Houston. But I guarantee you this evening, I'll start firing phone calls off. I want something done. I want something done. And I don't want her little hand swapped and her told not to do that. That's not going to work this time. That's not going to work this time.